The Trump tariff volatility is here. Markets are all over the place. After last night's crash, crypto is rebounding. TradFi is trying to bounce back after a rough start to the day. We'll be discussing that and much more on this episode of Money Never Sleeps. Okay, thank you for joining us today, everybody. I'm getting like a delay on the intro video. It's pissing me off. As we get going, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and remember, nothing Kevin or I say is financial advice, so please do your own research before making any sort of buys or sells. Kev, we had a pretty tremendous crash in the crypto market last night. Things are rebounding. How are you feeling as we continue to get more and more info around Trump and his tariffs? And Kevin is gone. So that was a fun start to the show. More issues with StreamYard, it would appear. We'll try to get Kevin back as soon as possible. Oh, here he comes.
Better now. I try to fix it.
Kevin, I got you now. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, perfect. How are you doing today, buddy? And what are your thoughts on just that crazy price action we saw in crypto last night?
Yeah, I was telling you before the show, I was kind of getting close to my buy levels, and I was like, is this going to happen tonight? This doesn't make sense. I don't think this is going to be the black swan in February that I was expecting. And turns out it's not. The main one, I think, comes in a couple of weeks, but it was definitely a major liquidation that we saw in Asia based off of fears of the tariffs. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is a buy the dip opportunity. If I would have bought last night, I probably would be selling today because this is a great bounce. I mean, you can't deny that this is a really good bounce for some of these assets, except ETH. Sorry, ETH. But let's talk about this, and we're going to go into it when we look at the charts. ETH dropped 25% or so last night. This is supposedly the second. What is this? One of the biggest market caps. Is it second now or is it third? I don't even know.
It's second, still, I believe.
Yeah,
we watch XRP is gonna like flip it soon enough.
XRP or Sol, whatever is gonna do it, but it's insane to see that the market dropped that quick. And I was like, I don't think we're done with this. It didn't hit some of the levels that I expected us to hit, but it definitely made a good move and just shows you how fast this market can move when liquidity becomes an issue. We had a pretty rough night in Asia. People aren't necessarily talking about it because everyone's talking about tariffs with Mexico and Canada. But once again, this is the same thing that we had last week. We were talking about the tariffs on Friday. Like, this might be a big market reversal at some point. But I think we have to consider, whether or not these things are priced in. I think the black swan isn't priced in, but I think a lot of people think that, okay, well, the tariffs, we know that they're coming. We can kind of get this little correction and then it's up only from here. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that you and I have said in the past few episodes, this market cannot relax while Trump is in office. It is absolutely impossible. He could say anything. He could just decide to, like he was talking about, if Canada did any retaliation to the tariffs that he's putting, he's going to double his. He's going to make it like 50% on Canadian goods. Like, that's kind of the mentality that the market has to go in with. Anything can happen. Either they're going to get comfortable and be like, okay, this is just what we're dealing with now. We're just going to try and push the all-time highs once again. Or they're just going to get screwed over on something that they completely don't see because they're watching Trump the whole time, i.e. the yen carry trade.
Yeah, it's we were talking before we started recording, but like trading with leverage during the next 4 years is really playing with fire. Like, maybe there's some upside there, but like Trump just makes such rash decisions and speaks so quickly without really thinking a lot of the times that you could just see the market absolutely eat shit at the drop of a hat. So I do agree Canadian whiskey is awful. Not particularly interested in all of that, but yeah, man, like there's upside in this market for crypto in the long run, I think, but the volatility that we're going to see, I think, makes it that you need to have a long time horizon here, or if you're trading actively, not be afraid to take profits on a short-term horizon. Like, and I don't play with leverage to begin with, but I extra would not be doing that now with our current situation.
Yeah, definitely not the year for leverage in either our opinions. That being said, the interesting thing continues to be that everyone is going to just be a tariff expert online. I'm seeing girls I went to college with posting about tariffs and saying how Trump's going to ruin the economy. And I'm just like, yes, but we're getting this from a psych major. So I don't necessarily know if this is the way that we're going to survive in this market. I think a lot of people did buy the top and they're just mad at Trump for being so volatile. But that being said, the markets did bounce back today. And we kind of expect this based off of what happens from a Friday close into a Monday open. Asia saw it first. You can kind of get ahead of it in the U.S. markets. I don't believe that if there is going to be a market correction, a major one, we're talking like 10% or so in TradFi, you're not going to see this during the Monday opens. I don't believe it. I think it's going to be during the week. Maybe it's a Black Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever, even a Wednesday, really, where the markets are open for like 2 or 3 days after, and there's not necessarily much you can do. It's just going to be, okay, you sell, I sell in, US, Asia, then Europe will sell, and it's just going to be going back and forth like that. Every time we get these Monday opens where it's limit down, we're just going to fill gaps. And, I'm going to share my screen right now. It's really all we're doing today. I'm going to share the S&P just to see what we're looking at here, because we don't have too much to go over other than, market bounced and volatility. But, you had a limit down morning.
How much economic data coming out this week?
Do we have anything?
Not really.
Yeah.
Some productivity data. We got some Fed speakers. We'll be talking. Nothing really. We'll get so on Friday jobs report. Jobs report on Friday. That's kind of significant, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. Other than that, it's a pretty slow week from no inflation data or anything like that. So really, just be hanging on every word that Trump has to determine the direction that we're going.
Absolutely. And this is why I hate this market, and it's just absolute bullshit. Look at these gaps, right? We filled these gaps all the way from January 16th, so pre-Trump coming into office. But you had these, major gap ups, and then you had this major gap down from the 24th into the 27th, which was last week. And you filled it. You filled it all the way last week, and then you had the sell-off, and then here we are today, and we're probably going to fill this gap once again. That's right here between 6,037 and 6,019. It's going to happen most likely. I think the markets feel pretty good about themselves right now. That being said, if we look at this, we still got a double top scenario, and we got a lower high, which to me is one of two things. Either we're going to get a triple top at around 61.23, because again, I think that I'm going to say right now, the dates of February 14th to February 22nd, going to be the interesting time in the markets. That's around the same times that we saw Volmageddon and the pandemic crash happen under Trump. So that's when I'd expect volatility, maybe some bigger pullbacks in the market to begin at least. But looking at this here, this is going to fill. And if you're not able to put in another high, then you're going to be just trading within this channel. But it's kind of a megaphone pattern. And if that's the case, we're either going up severely or going down severely. And I don't know. I think all the charts in the VIX and everything are looking at a major spike up. And again, that might be to 40, which that's still enough to pull the market down a little bit. But just to take a look at where I'm expecting this to go, just because the 50 moving average is right here, and we're kind of bounced off of it today. The 200's down here, and we haven't tested in a while. I do think that if we do get to the 200, it's likely that there is some type of major sell where, the algos are turned off for the computers and the trading desks. From where we currently are to where I think we might go, which is around 53.40 or so. It's 11.38% drop in the market. I don't think that's impossible. I also think that we would probably rally pretty hard from there into the end of the year. It's at least Q3. So looking at this here, looking at what we're seeing in the NASDAQ, it's the same old song and dance, filling gaps. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, go max long here. It's like, maybe. If you're going to use leverage, like I said, it's going to be a little bit dangerous, but we're seeing a lot of double top scenarios. And even on the daily for the Dow, we had a really good push to the downside, and it rallied hard. And we're getting into this point where, We're starting to see a lot of liquidations in other countries. We're seeing a lot of other countries kind of respond to the sphere of the tariffs. We also got a lot of gaps down here that might get filled. And if we're filling the gaps, to the upside that from limit downs, I would expect that pretty soon we're going to be filling the gaps that are limit up as well. You got one down here as well. But that's just kind of what I'm looking at based off of what's happened. I still think February is going to be a shitty month, but you might get a week or two of, slow, gradual climb up from here. I don't know if we're going to hit all-time highs. It's possible, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an expert on price action under Trump and tariffs. I just see what the charts are saying, and I think that we have a pretty good correction on the horizon, but I don't think it's here just yet.
All right. Where do you want to go? I mean, we don't need to spend too much time on the tariff stuff because, unlike the people on Twitter, the Anthony Pomplianos of the world, we're not going to pretend to be experts on this kind of a thing. So I don't really feel the need to get too into the weeds on that. We can just kind of look more at the broader market if you would like. But just give me any other thoughts that you have here.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this kind of does tie into the tariffs, but obviously the tariff worries came down a little bit. The dollar pulled back a good amount. Why is that important? Because people still don't understand that Japan is probably the black swan that we're going to see fairly soon. And that's the dollar pulling back makes the yen stronger. So we're going to see how that plays out in Asia tonight. Like, look, as we're talking, it just turned red, which means the yen is getting stronger against the dollar. We're going to see. I'm not going to pull up every currency, but these currencies are going to continue to be out of whack, and it's going to kind of force liquidations in some aspects. And the yen carry trade still seems like if the tariff worries are out of the way and the yen continues to get stronger and they're raising rates, the BOJ and the US seems like we're going to be cutting rates, or there's talk of, you can just get one soundbite out of Powell or someone saying that we expect to be cutting rates soon. You're going to see a huge influx of capital between these currencies, and I think we're going to see some major moves. Outside of that, I think we should just jump into crypto because that's where all the fun was last night. Do you agree?
Yeah, let's do it. Nothing too interesting in the stock market at the moment. All the you want to talk about gold real quick?
Yeah, we can talk about gold.
Gold put in a new all-time high, got up to almost 28.30 at one point.
28.30.
It bounced off of 28.30, now down around 28.18. So gold doing pretty well. Silver having a good day. So the precious metal boys are feeling themselves at the moment.
Yeah, Peter Schiff's loving this right now, is he not? There's nothing I could say about gold other than it's the trade of uncertainty. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, even though you understand Biden, nothing bad was going to happen in the markets under Biden just because there's always going to be spending. And you aren't going to see Biden say 50% tariff on Germany or Canada. You still had two presidents back to back that people just didn't 100% believe in because there's just uncertainty regardless of, hey, is this guy sentient enough to be making decisions, or is this guy just sane enough to be pretty much putting a tariff on every single person? It's like an Oprah Winfrey show. You get a tariff. Jokes aside, looking at where we are, the market still is unsure of where to put its money. So precious metals are going to continue to go. And you always see a pullback when the market finally decides where it wants to go. Gold is absolutely breaking all those trends. This is insane how much it's pushed up. And if we go to the weekly, let's go to the monthly. When we look at this historical pattern, gold has gone parabolic. It is broken above this historical trend line that it's tested, back here in the 80s, tested back here in, post 2008, which would have been the banking crisis in England in 2011. And now here we are, and we're what? 21% above it. It's insane. It's insane. So I think that there's going to be a major retracement for gold at some point. Probably. Is it now? I don't know. Markets are still unsure of what's going to happen with this, guys. It could climb to September. It really could. I'm not going to fight this one. We've seen this. It's very similar to NVIDIA. When you get these parabolic moves to the upside, what's going to stop it? It's got to be pretty much the end of the world to stop it, right? Or DeepSeek. So we're just going to keep an eye on gold because this continues to show us that the market isn't necessarily sure. If you had gold, back here in, even as low as the beginning of 2024, you're up 54%. Absolutely insane. So, gold boys, congrats. But I have nothing to say really on that. It's just crazy right now. It's crazy times we're living in. Going to Bitcoin, we're going to look at this because I'm seeing people all over. Some people saying, close all your shorts. We're going to 120K next. Do I think we're going to 120K? Probably. Do I think it's, in the next month? Probably not. We're going to look at this and see here. We had a really great bounce. I mean, we went all the way down to about 91,200, which is, now what, $9,000 higher today. It's really hard to say with Bitcoin because we could have a really good bounce today and then the market just trades sideways for 5 days or something like that. It's very possible. It could be, maybe Trump doesn't do something with crypto and then it tanks a little bit. I think you're just going to trade in between this range of like 101 or so right now to like 97K. But eventually I do think that you are going to test that 200 moving average. And even to push on a little bit further of where we could end up, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we go down to about 73K. I'm going to put a little line here. Doesn't mean that it has to go down there. But if we do get this major correction like I expect, and the way that we saw the market get liquidated last night, I wouldn't be surprised if we move that fast. Like I was telling you, a lot of my orders almost got filled last night. That made no sense why it would be that quick. I mean, the fact that they would have been filled last night and we hadn't seen the black swan would kind of scare me, thinking that we might even go lower. But the fact that we kind of bounce from there gives me confidence that we probably will see some of those levels. But for Bitcoin, I'm looking at, by mid-March, at least the 200 moving average, which is 83K, which would be 18% down. But, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we go down, to 73, 74K, which is about 26, 27%. And then we have a really big rally, in September, which we've seen how much Bitcoin can rally in a short period of time and just kind of still be strong, even though it's kind of trading on, no support whatsoever. It's very possible we just do the same thing there and then markets fully settle in and, we have time of tariffs, Trump economic policy, monetary policy from several central banks kind of taking effect and, maybe just causing a major crash at some point later on this year. But, Bitcoin bouncing here,
Let's
there's no real
look
worry.
real quick at Bitcoin dominance because that chart was fun.
With
all the 64.33%, like just absolute insanity right there.
And still casually trading above 61. I mean, it's 61.7 right now. That's, it wasn't there a few days ago, guys. It was on Friday, trading at the high was 59.27. You're still in some pretty dangerous territory if Bitcoin decides to pull back. Like I said, if Bitcoin decides to pull back that, 18% or so, I mean, imagine what that's going to do to the alt market. Imagine what it's going to do if it pulls back even further than that. You can see some really low levels in some of these alts. You saw it last night. I mean, XRP was down, 30% at one point last night? I think I texted you in house and I was like, guys, what the hell's going on here? And obviously it bounced back. I mean, look at this candle. Look at this wick for XRP.
Yeah, I mean, it went went down to what, $1.73.
Yeah, $1.69.
I mean, and then if we want to talk about that Bitcoin dominance,
yeah,
well, let's just go to the ETH chart and look at this absolute disaster. I mean, if you want to go back just a couple days from where it was on Saturday, where it started the trading day on Saturday, casually down 17%. As of right now, at that wick, it was down 35%.
Yeah,
when it's low last night. I mean, that's unreal. And what's gonna save ETH at this point? I just don't like.
Do you believe me now? When I mean, I think you always entertain the idea, but do you think it's possible now to see how weak ETH is that we could get to 883, even lower to 636? It's possible.
I mean, it's possible. I don't even know what story I can tell myself on the upside of this absolute disaster of a coin.
It's bullshit. I'd be so pissed if I was an ETH holder right now.
I am. So
yeah, I understand. I totally feel that because this is, I mean, let's put it this way. When you see something with that large of a market cap pull back that much, what was it? 35%?
Yeah.
And in 2 hours last night, it was down 25%. I mean, come on, this is a joke. I mean, and then you see Vitalik selling ETH, and then I don't know. I see Charles Hoskinson more on my timeline than I see Vitalik Buterin anymore. It's just bullshit.
I don't know what Vitalik's doing at this point. If there's trying to be improvements made, if they're trying to I don't know. But
I think it's a buy, not now, but at some point it will be a buy for ETH. But I mean, this thing just kind of gave me confirmation last night that it ain't going anywhere, guys. That's just my opinion. I'm looking at this. As of right now, this is the one that stayed true to the ABC corrective pattern so far. If it gets back into like this 21, 2000 level, I wouldn't be surprised that by September, October, November, you were closer to that $1,000 mark, and then bottoming out somewhere. Here's the thing, though, too. Crypto moves so fast because there's no stops. That's the other thing, too, right? I mean, this is on a Sunday night when the markets weren't open, just the Asian market hours. This thing can just fly if it wants to. So this could bottom out before TradFi. It really can. But we just saw it last night how weak one of the biggest assets in the total market cap is, and it just absolutely ate shit. Looking across other things too, Solana didn't have a good night last night either. Let me just pull this up on the daily. Sol went as low as 174 on this chart, and this thing was moving really quick. I mean, let's say from the day that Trump took office to where it bottomed out last night, it's a 40% drop in the market cap. I mean, that's absolutely insane. It's a 40% drop in Solana's price. And then we have to kind of wonder was that this inauguration day the Trump top? As of right now, across the board, absolutely. I think a lot of people are hoping to hear some legislation. I think he was supposed to be talking with someone about strategic Bitcoin reserve. I don't believe it. Until it's an actual law, I don't buy any of this shit. It's just going to be another buy the rumor, sell the news event. They don't even have an event yet, but it's just absolutely crazy. And again, I'm looking at some of these things too. Sol is in a major bear flag. I don't care what anyone says. It's been one since October, September, October of 2023. It's been climbing. At some point, this is going to break, and it's put in a new high, so I don't think it's going to go down to the $8 level that it once was trading at. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to the $30 level too. Again, crypto moves fast, moves way faster than TradFi. You see what happens when there are no stops. This market would just absolutely get liquidated fast, and it'll be pretty rough on the bounces back. But that's really all I got on crypto. It's been a bloodbath. I don't think it's done yet. I think we're going to get this little nice Goldilocks period, Goldilocks zone for the next few weeks. And then we might be here again some random Monday morning or Wednesday morning or something. And it's just down, I don't know. XRP, I'm looking at the only one I'm really looking at. I'm looking at this thing possibly going to between 127 and 160 as of right now. So I think there's going to be some value in some of these things. I just, the bounce happened already. I'm just going to wait till then to buy that at the levels I'm comfortable. Not financial advice.
All right. That's going to do it for today. We'll be back on Wednesday to discuss the latest economic and earnings data we have. Anything new happening in the markets remains to be seen. It's going to be an interesting 4 years, folks. So have cash on hand, take profit, yada, yada, yada. Appreciate you for joining us. If you did today, hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment. We'll be back Wednesday. Take care, everybody. Stay safe in the markets. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.